Hello my sparkling little meteorite, have you considered taking a shower lately? Get it? Meteorite, shower. Oh never mind. Anywibbles. Welcome to the second ever edition of Random Reactions with Disco Doc. Last time we span a wheel and got the year 2006, and I reacted to The Pot by Tool. Then I span the wheel again and got the year 2001. But what songs have you been suggesting from that year? Let's take a look back at some of your comments. Wow, they were all really great suggestions. But the one song that more people asked for, by far, was Chop Suey by System of a Down. Unfortunately my reaction to the official video got blocked globally, despite many existing reactions to it, so I'm going to have to use a live version instead. I have to say though, this version is pretty true to the studio version, which is no mean feat given the nature of the song. Without further ado, let's have a listen. There is one main difference to this live version which I can hear already. Most pressings of the album include an intro to the track where the singer, Serj Tankian, can faintly be heard saying, "We're rolling, suicide," while the drummer is counting the band in. And just like Ren, who had a song of that name and changed one letter to exclamation mark due to censorship, System of a Down had to switch things up too. The song was originally titled either Suicide or possibly Self-Righteous Suicide, according to two different sources, but the name was changed in response to anticipated pushback from Columbia Records. According to band members, the song title is a wordplay, "Suey," as simply the word suicide, chopped in half. Wow, what an explosive start. I absolutely love the energy of this band. It's like metal and punk made a baby whilst listening to furious battle rap. That wake up line makes me chuckle though, because I once heard lead singer Serj Tankian talking about it and it made for a good story. Let me see if I can dig out the video clip.
People scare the shit out of me and they yell "wake up" behind me, like somewhere wherever in public. Wake up! I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, really? Like, wow. I'm glad you're excited, but don't do that. Like, I get that a lot. But it is very intriguing. It's the biggest compliment in the world to start with, that anyone would listen to your music. And to me, the best thing to see is multi-generational kind of listeners, like a father with a son, or a grandfather with a father, which is happening as we get older, and just seeing that is so fucking beautiful.
Suicide. I cry when angels deserve to die.
That is a poignant line. I cry when angels deserve to die. In an interview, the guitarist, Darren Malakian, explained, the song is about how we are regarded differently depending on how we pass. Everyone deserves to die. Like, if I were now to die from drug abuse, they might say I deserved it because I abused dangerous drugs. Hence the line, I cry when angels deserve to die. I remember when I wrote Chop Suey. We didn't even have a tour bus yet, Malakian recalled. We were still in an RV and I was playing my acoustic guitar in back of the RV where there was a bed. I never write on the road. That's one of the few, very few songs that I wrote while I was on the road. I remember writing the song when the RV was on the highway. I don't know where we were. Probably driving to the next gig. And it all came to me just hanging out in the back of the RV playing my acoustic guitar. Malakian continued, I can always feel when I write something good and I can always tell when I write something that needs a little work. I thought it was really good. But did I think it was going to turn into this huge song that was gonna get on MTV and become a huge hit for System of a Down? No. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it was gonna be our first hit single. I didn't think it was gonna be so huge, but at the time I thought it was good. I was a fan of it. All of a sudden I'm walking in the mall, and there are people who recognize me and know who the hell I am through the video asking for pictures, asking for autographs, the guitarist remembered. So life kind of changed. On a flip of the coin there it just changed. People don't realize that it's a big life changer whenever you get fame. I feel like it changed me. I became more of a private person, less outgoing. You always think you're gonna like the attention. I'm not sure I was in love with the attention. I was a big famous rock star, yet I was still living with my parents. Malakian then discussed the timing of the album, and the impact of 9/11. He said, we had songs on the album like called Jet Pilot, lyrics that were singing, self-righteous suicide, aerials in the sky. So fans at the time thought that we had predicted what was gonna happen. I guess the Beatles would have fans that would look into the lyrics a little too much like these guys are prophets or something. That was crazy how people would take that seriously because those songs we had written way before anything happened to the Twin Towers.
Self-righteous suicide.
The lyrics for this midsection, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, were randomly picked out by the singer, Serj Tankian, from the producer Rick Rubin's book collection after Tankian was struggling for ideas. Although it was not revealed what book the lines were taken from, they are quoted from the sayings of Jesus on the cross, Luke chapter 23 verse 46 and Mark chapter 15 verse 34. Shall we have a listen to Rubin discussing this?
My experience is when you are open and looking for these clues in the world, they're happening all the time, and they're happening often right when you need them. There's a song, System of a Down song called, I think it's the song Chop Suey. And he said, I don't have words for this. And we were finishing. It's like, okay, any ideas? He's like, he didn't have any ideas. And I said, okay, pick a book off the wall. I picked a book randomly off the wall. I said, open it to any page. Tell me the first phrase you see. He opened it. First phrase he sees. That's what's in the song. And it's a high point in the song. It's incredible. It's like magic.
my goodness, I bloody loved that. It's one of those songs that just hits you in the solar plexus and makes you feel something, you know. I can't imagine what it must have been like to work with this band in those formative years. Shall we head back to producer Rick Rubin and have a listen to him discussing this with his fellow music legend, Zane Lowe?
I want to talk about System.
Yeah, great.
Because there's a band that I think a lot of people listening and watching this now will be really interested to know what it's like working with them. Because, I mean, you've got 4 characters in a band, all of them very strong characters.
Absolutely.
And the music they make is very strong and very unique.
Absolutely.
Just talk us through, tell us some stories about System of a Down and how it's been like to work with them.
Yeah. I remember going to see them the first time I went to see them play. They played at the Viper Room in LA. It was packed, and it's 200 people. And
Sold out.
sold out. And I remember watching the show and just laughing. I laughed the whole time. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, but in a good way. It wasn't like laughing like, what a joke. It was just so over the top and so extreme and like Armenian folk dancing with heavy metal riffs and wild political lyrics and screaming. It was crazy music. And usually a lot of heavy music falls into a similar thing. I'm not going to say it's interchangeable because it's not, but there are certain rules of heavy metal, let's say, that everyone sort of follows those rules.
It's a loyal fan base.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
And System of a Down were a heavy band, you could say a heavy metal band, who didn't follow those rules. So they didn't have the rhythms that you'd hear in a typical, you wouldn't hear a Metallica rhythm, you'd hear a System of a Down rhythm, which was different, dun, 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 like different gallops and different, and it's rooted in their Armenian heritage. So they took elements from folk music and brought that into heavy metal. And I remember at the time, I'd never heard anything like it. And I can remember people, while there were those of us who loved them fanatically, people hated them.
Yeah.
People hated them. I can remember the big radio station in LA is K-Rock.
Yeah.
And Kevin Weatherly's the program director of K-Rock. And I remember him saying, System of a Down is a band we will never play on our station ever. 100%. I don't care what happens. They're not, that doesn't fit on our station. And then a year later, it was the #1 band on the station.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. They clearly didn't fit, but they were so good that they transcended not fitting. And those are the artists that I like the best. Those are my favorite artists. The ones that they don't really fit anywhere. They're not another in this mold. Rage Against the Machine is another great example. It's like Rage Against the Machine, they don't sound like anyone. No one before Rage Against the Machine sounded like Rage Against the Machine. And a lot of people didn't like them for that reason. But those are the revolutionary bands. Those are the ones that changed the world.
Perfect. What a fascinating insight into their world. Well, the time has come to spin the wheel and find out which year I'll be reacting to now. And there we have it. The year is 1990. But what is the song? Put your suggestions in the comments to this video, and I will pick one and react to it. Bye bye, my squishy little marrowfat peas.